Hey everyone, it is Evan here from the Trade Risk on Wednesday, August 7th. We are intraday right now, and this is our weekly trade ideas video where we bring you some of the names on our watch list. In this type of market environment, it is building a list of names that are pulling back into support, into prior trend lines, stabilizing without a tremendous amount of technical damage. That's what we're looking for in this type of environment. And we have 5 names we're going to look at. This video is powered by our partners over at Investors Business Daily. We're curating ideas based on their stock lists. You can get access to their stock lists with a link in the description of this video. So we have 3 names coming from IBD's list. We have 2 ideas coming from our watch list. Let's jump into the first one here is EDU. This comes from IBD's list, and this is sort of what we're talking about here are names that haven't suffered a tremendous amount of technical damage, right? When we look at some of the major averages, we broke through multi-day, multi-week, sometimes, and even in some cases, multi-month support. And when we're looking at building watch list for stocks, we're looking at things that haven't dramatically broken through support. So EDU is a good example of this. It's right back to its all-time highs. It got up here just last week. It's starting to pull back. It filled this gap. Volume's been, a little bit elevated here, but not crazy like we're seeing in some of the other names littered with distribution. We kind of had a more orderly gap fill, finding some support here at this trend line, and this is the type of name that I'd be paying attention to and just keeping an eye on here. If we do, and if you do believe that this market can start to stabilize, these are types of names that I would want to be paying attention to. So EDU, that's the first one. GSX, number 2 here. This is a recent IPO. This was an IPO back in June, just highlighting its strength here, though it really didn't budge over the past week or so. It just has a pretty orderly looking bull flag. Remember, this is a very young IPO. It does have earnings coming out later this month. I believe it's first earnings, maybe second earnings since it became public, and it is more volatile, but this is one that's holding up well and something that is, again, can be a little more aggressive and move pretty quick here. But GSX, take a look at that one from IBD's IPO list. And number 3 here is Blackline, kind of highlighting this recent surge of momentum here from Friday of last week. While everything else was selling off, we had this big pop here in BL. If we zoom out a little bit further, you can see this is an IPO back in 2016. It's been in an uptrend. It's back to all-time highs. It has a lot of momentum. It's ignoring market weakness. So this is something, again, to keep an eye on, pay attention to as it starts to flirt with these all-time highs again. Now, from our watch list, we're going to show, basically 2 ideas. And the first is really just a short for the market. And it's not yet. It's just watching and waiting for a potential rollover, for a potential short on this market. And what I would like to see really in any, either the Qs, the SPY, the Dow, the IWM, we'll see what starts to or what continues to underperform. But for instance, the Qs, if we were to just look at this, for instance, if we can muster up a 2-3 day bounce, kind of fill the gap, maybe, come all the way back up into or close to the 190s, kind of get up towards this trend line, which we could obviously draw a little more appropriately if we go down to the intraday time frame. But if we start to kind of put in a retracement of about 40, 50, 60% of the recent slide here over the past 6 days, and we get back up to these areas up here, I would potentially be looking at reshorting or initiating a short here for the markets. Again, this is an early trade. We have to see how things come together. Just talking about sort of what's on the playlist here from our standpoint. And this might not happen at all. Remember, the setup needs to actually occur and unfold as we would need it to. But if we do get kind of a weak bounce, gap fill into resistance, a couple of day rally, that'd be something where I would be inclined to fade it, would not be definitively fading it. We would need to reassess at the time of entry. So that's just kind of the first idea there. Really, all of the markets kind of in play there for that potential trade. The SPY kind of coming back up, filling the gap. Russell 2000, same thing. So we'll be watching for that going forward. Now, in terms of actual long ideas, the only one that I am really looking at kind of closely, and it's been on the list here, is MLM. This is in the materials sector. This recently reported earnings. It broke to new all-time highs. You can see here we've got a multi-year trend line and resistance around 235. We are above it right now. We are ignoring this recent market pullback. We've gone totally sideways here. We haven't given anything back. We're holding the gap. We're holding up. And this one is acting quite strong. So MLM, this is one on our watch list right now. And we're just waiting to see how kind of this market unfolds and what MLM does up here in the coming days. So that is it from the watch list. All 4 long ideas and then the short, on the broad indices. Again, my idea right now as a swing trader is to be more patient, not aggressively looking at adding right now. I'm just building watch lists, not aggressively looking at putting on any new shorts right now. We're just kind of waiting to see and let the dust settle a little bit. So that is it for this week's video. You can subscribe on YouTube, follow us on the Trade Risk. Every Wednesday, trade ideas just like this. Thanks so much for watching. We will see you in the next video update.